Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a game that I think flew under a lot of radars when the Switch 2 launched. Most people probably looked at the release lineup and went straight for the obvious choice, Mario Kart World. Sure, RPG fans had some solid day one drops like Undertale, but what if I told you one of the most underrated Switch 2 launch titles was actually a remaster of a cult classic? I'm talking about Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD. And before we get started, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps support the growth of the channel, and I truly appreciate everyone who's already subscribed. Thank you for being here. Now let's get back to the video. If you skipped it back on the 3DS, this remaster is a perfect chance to see why it became such a beloved hidden gem. And today, I want to break down exactly what makes Bravely Default so special. The story, the job system, the Bravely Default combat mechanic, the presentation, and why this old school RPG still feels fresh today. So what's the game actually about? Bravely Default kicks off with a pretty classic JRPG setup, but it quickly grows into something much more character driven. You've got Tiz, a farm boy whose entire village is swallowed by a massive chasm in the opening moments, Agnes, the wind vessel tasked with restoring balance to the world's fading crystals, Ring-a-Bell, a mysterious wanderer with no memories but a book that seems to predict the future, and Adia, the strong-willed daughter of a high-ranking military commander who chooses her own path instead of blindly following orders. What I love is how these four aren't just RPG archetypes thrown together, they each bring personality, humor, and conflict to the group. Their banter, especially through optional party chat moments, gives the adventure a lot of charm. It feels like you're traveling with real characters instead of just silent pawns in a turn-based system. Now the heart of Bravely Default, and what really sets it apart, is the Bravely Default system. On the surface, it looks like a traditional turn-based setup. Pick your actions, execute, repeat. But here's where it gets interesting. You can default to defend and bank a turn for later, or brave to spend multiple turns all at once. That means you're constantly making these little tactical gambles. Do you play it safe, guarding and building up turns so you can unleash a powerful combo later? Or do you go all in right now, throwing out 4 attacks in a single burst and hoping you wipe the enemy before they even get to move? The beauty of the system is that it forces you to think ahead, not just about the current turn, but about the next 2 or 3. And it's not just about the damage output. You can use Bravely Default to set up smart plays. Maybe you default with a healer to survive an incoming boss strike, then cash in multiple heals the following round to stabilize your party. Or you might have a thief brave 4 times in a row just to steal every item an enemy is carrying before the fight really begins. It adds layers of strategy that make even random encounters feel engaging, because every battle has the potential to go completely differently depending on your choices. It's risk versus reward, but with way more nuance than just attack or defend. And honestly, once the system clicks, going back to a regular turn-based RPG almost feels flat by comparison. Then you layer in the job system, and that's where the depth really opens up. The game features 24 jobs in total, each with its own abilities and playstyle, from classics like Knight and Black Mage to quirkier picks like Performer or Merchant. On top of that, each character can equip its sub-job, letting you mix and match abilities between roles. Want a white mage that can also steal items? Or a monk that can throw out devastating spells? The combinations are nearly endless, and makes experimenting with party builds one of the most rewarding parts of the game. The way you unlock these jobs is also tied beautifully into the game's progression. You usually gain them through boss battles against powerful asterisk holders, essentially mini arcs that double as side stories. These moments aren't just combat challenges, they're opportunities to learn more about the world, laugh at some great character interactions, and get rewarded with a brand new job for your trouble. It makes job hunting feel like a natural, exciting part of the adventure rather than just a side distraction. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind, don't let the cute storybook aesthetics of Bravely Default fool you. This game can definitely be challenging, especially when it comes to some of the boss fights. If you're underleveled or poorly prepared, you can absolutely hit a wall as you progress. In fact, one of the first real hurdles players hit is the Orthros fight. It's a wake-up call that forces you to actually learn how to use the Bravely Default system properly instead of just mashing attack. For many players, this is where the game shifts from QRPG to, okay, I need to start thinking strategically. The good news is, once you clear that hurdle and start to unlock more jobs and abilities, the game opens up and becomes far more manageable. You'll still face tough bosses later, but you're better equipped both in tools and in understanding on how the game's mechanics work. The game does lean into that old school RPG grind at times, which some players love, but the remaster smooths out a lot of those rough edges with clever quality of life improvements. You can fast forward battles up to 4x speed, set your character's actions to auto repeat, and even adjust enemy encounter rates from 50% to 200%. That means you can streamline your experience depending on what you're doing, whether you're grinding for job points or just trying to explore the overworld without getting stopped every 10 steps. It gives you more control over the pacing and makes the grind feel optional instead of mandatory. Let's take a moment to talk about the performance, because this remaster really shines on Switch 2. Coming from the original 3DS release, the improvements are huge. The entire UI has been intelligently reworked to fit onto a single screen, instead of the old dual screen setup, and it feels incredibly natural. Resolution-wise, the game runs at a crisp full 1080p in handheld, and what appears to be 1440p when docked, though Square Enix hasn't officially confirmed the exact target. But perhaps the biggest difference is a solid, consistent 60 FPS throughout the entire experience. Battles, exploration, menus, everything feels buttery smooth, and it makes the game a treat not to just look at, but to actually play. And while we're on the topic of visuals, this game is stunning. The hand-painted towns are breathtaking. When the camera pulls back to reveal where the characters are standing, it feels less like a video game and more like you've stepped into a moving illustration. If you were to pause the game and just look at the screen, you could easily mistake it for an art piece straight out of a fantasy book. The way those backgrounds blend seamlessly with the character models and animations gives Bravely Default a unique, timeless look that really shines in HD. But it's not just about the visuals. The audio design takes it to another level. Nearly every character in the game is fully voice acted, with the exception of shopkeepers and a handful of minor NPCs. That means the main story, side interactions, and party banter all feel alive in a way the original 3DS release could only hint at. Tiz's earnest determination, Agnes's elegance, Ringabel's charm, and Adia's fiery spirit, they all come across even stronger thanks to the great performances that give the story a cinematic edge. Combine that with an orchestral soundtrack that soars from grand battle themes to soft emotional melodies, and you've got a presentation that doesn't just look beautiful, it feels beautiful in every sense. So why does Bravely Default still matter today? It's because it manages to blend nostalgia with innovation. It honors the roots of classic JRPGs, but isn't afraid to mess with the formula in clever ways. And on Switch 2, with its enhanced visuals, nearly full voice acting, silky performance, and smoother pacing, it feels like the perfect way to experience this cult classic for the first time, or to revisit it if you were there back on the 3DS. At the end of the day, Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD isn't just a glow-up of a 2012 game, it's a masterclass in turn-based combat, job customization, stunning presentation, and character-driven storytelling. If you're an RPG fan, or even just curious about games that make every turn matter, this is absolutely one you don't want to sleep on. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And stick around because I've got more deep dives on Switch 2 games, news, and the latest in gaming and tech coming your way. You won't want to miss it, and I'll catch you in the next one.